Good evening. Um, I'm presenting the case of Mrs. A 58-year-old lady residing at Anavaretti. She's a housewife by occupation. Her chief complaint is that of a lump in the right breast in the past 3 months. History of presenting illness. Patient was apparently normal 3 months ago when she noticed a swelling in the outer aspect of her right breast. It was initially small in size that has been gradually about 1 centimeter in size, and it has been gradually growing to the present size. There is no history of pain or fever, no history of ulceration or skin changes over the breast, no history of nipple discharge or nipple retraction, no history of trauma to the breast, no history of recent weight loss or reduced appetite, no history of back pain, no history of jaundice or abdominal distension, no history of cough, breathing difficulty or chest pain, and no history of headache, vomiting, or seizures. The patient also does not give any history of a swelling in the contralateral breast. Coming to past history, there is no history of any similar breast illness in the past, no history of any major medical illness or surgical procedure to the breast in the past. She is a known case of type 2 diabetes mellitus on diet control. She has no history of tuberculosis, no history of any cancer or radiation exposure, and no history of hormone replacement therapy. For personal history, the patient takes a non-vegetarian diet and has a normal appetite. The sleep is adequate. Bowel and bladder habits are normal and regular, and she has no addictions. Her menstrual history, she attained menarche at the age of 14 and attained menopause at the age of 50. She was married at the age of 22 and has 2 children. First childbirth was at the age of 23 years, which was a normal full, and both deliveries were normal full-term vaginal deliveries. Both children were breastfed for a period of 2 years each. Family history, there is no history of any breast or ovarian malignancy in the family, no history of any other malignancy in the family. Summarizing my history, I have a 58-year-old postmenopausal female with a painless, gradually progressive lump in the right breast since 3 months, with no associated ulcer or nipple discharge, no history of any swelling in the opposite breast, and no history of any malignancy in the family.
Malavika, wait for. I now will go to the examination.
Yes.
Pavita Devi, madam. Madam. Hello. Pavita
Yes,
Devi,
sir.
madam.
Yes, sir. Am I audible?
Yeah, audible. History is completed. You can more about the history and presentation. You can
Okay. She has asked. Yes, you have asked for a history of trauma to the breast, right?
I want to rule out any traumatic fat necrosis that can present as a lump in the breast. And many a times a trivial trauma to the breast makes the patient notice a lump that was previously and might have been there for a longer duration.
Okay. What is her lactation period?
She has
How long
breastfed for 2 years.
2 years for each child or 2 years as a
2
whole?
years.
2 years as a whole.
2 years for each child.
2 years for each child. How the breastfeeding affects the development of cancer breast or prevents the development of cancer breast?
Lactation is considered a protective protects against breast cancer.
How?
It decreases the exposure to estrogen to the breast.
Estrogen and progesterone. Cancer breast is a hormone dependent. So during lactation,
yes,
the estrogen exposure is minimal. And have you mentioned about the time of menarche? The age of menarche?
She attained menarche at the age of 14.
14. And she attained menopause at?
The age of 50.
50. So what do you implicate
50.
from that? What is the inference from that?
early menarche and late menopause is associated, is considered a risk factor for malignancy, but early menarche is considered below the age of 12 years, and late menopause is considered beyond the age of 55. So she does not have a risk factor.
Okay. And you also asked about the any other history of malignancy in the family. What
Yes,
other
ma'am.
malignancy do you expect to be present?
In familial cancers, there can be a family history of breast cancers, ovarian cancers, colon cancers, and prostate cancers in males.
No, the female, you asked about breast as well as ovarian malignancy. And you also told that there is no history of any other malignancy. You specifically look for any other.
Colon cancer.
The colon cancer has
Malignancy.
any relationship with the development of cancer breast?
In patients with mutation in the BRCA1 or BRCA2 genes, they can have, along with breast cancer, they can have
Most commonly
colon
cancer
and
breast
in the
or
family.
have you asked about the paternal side? Your pedigree
Yes,
doesn't
ma'am.
tells you about your maternal or paternal side. Your pedigree shows only the father and the mother. Which is more important? Your pedigree should include the previous generation also.
Okay.
That's all, sir. Anything else?
Okay. Kailas now. Kailas. Kailas. Kailas now.
Can you hear me?
Okay. You can what about history? Please
Yes.
comment. Kailas.
Hello.
Yes, you are audible.
Yes, sir.
What about the nipple discharge? Is there any nipple discharge?
It is no nipple discharge.
What are the common types of nipple discharge?
Nipple discharge, it can be, it can be serous or bloody discharge. Bloody discharge is seen in malignancy and in ductectasia. It can be a greenish colored or blackish colored discharge, which is also seen in ductectasia.
Bloody discharge.
It can be breast.
Bloody discharge. Duct carcinoma and
In
as well as
malignancy, have duct
any other
papilloma.
condition? Duct papilloma. Other discharges?
Greenish discharge or a creamy discharge in ductectasia.
Any other discharges?
And there can be a serous discharge in fibrosis stenosis.
If there is a nipple discharge, what investigation you will prefer? First and foremost investigation. Without a lump. Hello.
Yes, you are audible. Kailas.
Hello. What investigation
Are
you
you?
will do?
Can you hear?
Yes, sir.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
What investigation? Answer
For
the
a nipple
question.
discharge, what investigation you will prefer? For a nipple discharge?
An ultrasound of the breast.
No. Any other investigation? Imprint cytology of the nipple discharge. And also you can go for triple assessment. What is triple assessment?
Triple assessment is to first is a clinical examination of the breast and the axilla, followed by radiological and pathological evaluation of the lesion.
Kailas, that we will discuss later after if she is only present in the history. Kailas, we
History,
will discuss it later. Sulphika. Sulphika.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Anything you want?
Malavia, you are presenting a case of a lump breast on the right side. The patient's age is 58, postmenopausal, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
So you, in your history, you included about low back pain. What is the reason for that? In case of breast lump, you include back pain.
Breast cancer can metastasize to the spine. So I wanted to ask if she had any symptomatic symptoms related to metastatic lesions in the spine.
Which spine is commonly involved?
Lumbar vertebra.
Correct. How it reaches there, metastasis. If you are thinking about that, how it reaches there?
Through the intercostal veins, it reaches the Batson's plexus into the vertebra.
Okay, that's okay. Next,
Okay.
you mentioned about yes.
Continue.
Yes, sir. Then
Continue.
you were mentioning about diet. What is the importance of diet history in a case of lump breast, short duration lump breast?
I wanted to ask if she has a fatty diet that is associated with an increased risk in.
That's a risk factor, isn't it?
It's a risk factor, and alcohol intake is also considered a risk factor.
Is there any protective food items or diet? Any vitamins? Actually, vitamin A, C, and phytoestrogens are protective, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay. Malavira, I want to mention some for the personal history. You should mention, even though she is a female, about alcohol and smoke, because
Yes.
alcohol and smoking is risk factor for CA breast. Any problem for smoking other than the risk factor? One is risk factor. Anything else? If the lady is smoking, any other problem?
I didn't get you,
Malavira?
sir. I didn't get you, sir.
Smoking is a risk factor, smoking and alcoholism. Other than the risk factor, any problem with the smoking?
Fertility.
Not all. It is delay the wound healing. 2.5 times it can delay the wound healing if lady or a patient is smoker. And the history of discharge, you asked one question. Shall an exam ask one question? You can better put as a physiological discharge and pathological discharge. Than the physiology and pathology. And what are the pathological discharge? What are the discharge is pathology?
Pathological discharge can be a bloody discharge or a creamy discharge or a green colored discharge or a blackish discharge, black colored discharge.
Pathology can get spontaneous discharge, uniductal discharge, unilateral discharge. These are the pathological discharge. Others like it is a physiology discharge. So you should answer like physiological and the pathological. And regarding that metastasis, an exam asks about the what is the order of frequency of metastasis? Lumbar you mentioned. Next.
And next is the proximal end of the long veins.
You can easily remember LFT. For example, like LFT, that is tumor head parasites. Can you get the liver, brain secondary without this bone secondary?
Yeah.
Can we get secondary without bone or lung secondary?
Possible.
Possible or not possible? How you explain the possibility? What is the reason? How? Correct. You already mentioned that bats are
hematogenous
valveless veins. That's from the intercostal vein you mentioned that reach
route.
directly in the plexus reach the brain directly without metastasis other organ. That's all regarding your history is okay. And the family history, once more you mentioned about the first degree relatives. Anybody suffering, sister or first degree relative suffering from carcinoma breast or not? Okay. Now you can go for your further examination. The history is over.
Yes. General physical examination. Patient was examined in a well-lit space with adequate privacy after taking consent in the presence of a female chaperone. She was a 58-year-old lady, moderately built and well-nourished. She was calm, conscious, and cooperative, and well-oriented to time, place, and person. Her ECG performance status was 0, and her colonography performance status was 100. Pulse rate was 70 per minute, regular in rhythm, normal volume. Character of the vessel wall was normal. Her blood pressure was 140/70 millimeters of mercury, measured in the right upper arm in supine position. Her respiratory rate was 18 per minute, and her body mass index was 27.08. There was no pallor, icterus, cyanosis, generalized lymphadenopathy, or pedal edema. Coming to local examination, after taking consent and ensuring adequate privacy, the patient was examined after exposing till the waist. The patient was examined in the following positions: sitting with the arms by the side of the body, with the arms raised above the body, in semi-recumbent position, in recumbent position, and in leaning forward position. On inspection, both breasts were symmetrical in size and shape. The nipple and areola and the shape and size and position of both nipples and areola are the same. There was no displacement or retraction of either nipple. There is no crack, fissure, or ulceration over the surface. There is no discharge from the nipple, and no eczema was noted over the areola. There was no visible swelling, scar, engorged veins over both the breasts. There is no redness, dimpling, puckering, red orange appearance, or ulceration over the breast. No visible swellings were present in the axilla on raising the arms. And examination of the arm and thorax, there was no upper limb edema and no nodules noted over the skin of the chest. Coming to palpation, the left breast was palpated first and was found to be normal. The right breast, there is no localized temperature or tenderness. A lump is palpable in the upper outer quadrant of the right breast, which is 3 × 3 centimeters in size. The surface is irregular, the margins were fixed to the breast tissue, and tethering was present. It was not fixed to the skin, and the skin was pinchable, and it was not fixed to the underlying muscles or chest wall. Palpation of the axilla. The right axilla, a solitary, hard, mobile, non-tender lymph node was present in the pectoral group. In left axilla, no nodes were palpable. Bilateral supraclavicular lymph nodes were also not palpable. Coming to systemic examination, the abdomen was examined. It was normal in shape, non-distended. Umbilicus is central and inverted, soft. There was no hepatomegaly, no free fluid, and normal peristaltic sounds were heard on auscultation. Around respiratory system, bilateral normal vesicular breath sounds were heard. Air entry was bilaterally equal, and there were no added sounds. Cardiovascular system, S1 and S2 was heard normally, and there were no murmurs. And higher mental functions were normal. Motor and sensory system was intact. Spine and long bone examination revealed no abnormalities. My case summary: I have a 58-year-old postmenopausal female with a painless frozen lump in the upper outer quadrant of the right breast, history of any swelling in the opposite breast, and there was no history of any malignancy in the family. On local examination, there was a 3 × 3 centimeter hard lump in the upper outer quadrant of the right breast. The lump was fixed to the breast tissue with no fixity to the skin or underlying muscles or chest wall. There's also a solitary hard mobile pectoral lymph node palpable in the right axilla. The left axilla and supraclavicular fossa did not have any palpable lymph nodes. Her systemic examination was normal, and there were no features suggestive of distant metastasis. My provisional diagnosis from my history and clinical examination, my patient is a 58-year-old postmenopausal lady with no family history of malignancy, provisionally diagnosed with right-sided carcinoma of the breast, with a solitary mobile level 1 axillary lymph node and no evidence of distant metastasis. Clinical T stage 2B.
Yes, now we'll go to get some. So, Kumar sir.
Yes,
Clear?
can you hear me?
You had the history and the examinations over. Now you can come and diagnose also good.
So the thing is that she examined the patient in a different position. That is the arm above the head, on side of the body and on the hip and all those things.
Yes.
but she has not mentioned anything regarding any change when she had done these manipulations in reference to the size, swelling as such, or whether there is a disparity of the breast, nipple and areolar complex, any nipple retraction,
There's no
puckering of skin, nothing was mentioned.
And there was no disparity, sir.
Not disparity, but you have to say that because you have mentioned that you have examined the patient in these different positions. So
Yes.
if there is no disparity, you have to mention that with the change of the arm, there is no difference in the or disparity of anything which was described when the arm is by the side of the body.
Okay.
Otherwise, so there is no significance in that type of examination.
Okay.
That's the only thing I have to highlight in your presentation, and that is the examination assets
Yes.
also.
Okay, madam. Madam? Hello, madam?
Yes.
Ah,
Can I
yeah,
audible? Yes.
audible,
Yes, sir.
audible, madam. Audible. Regarding the examination.
Examination regarding the position, what do you expect when you raise the arm above the head?
On raising the arms, you can better visualize the lower part of the breast and the inframammary fold. You can also visualize any lump in the axilla and any dimpling or skin retraction that was previously not visible can be visible on raising the arms.
And also the level of the nipples. Then on leaning forward, what do you expect?
And level of the nipple can stick to the chest wall. The
Leaning
lump will
forward.
not fall forward. On leaning forward, the lump is fixed to the chest wall, it won't fall forward. So, and there
So
will be
it
a
indicates it is
zone.
fixed to the chest wall or not. What do you mean by chest wall?
Chest wall indicates fixity to the ribs and intercostal muscles.
It is not the pectoralis, isn't
Not
it? How will you look for the pectoralis muscle fixation?
First, I will palpate the mobility of the lump after fixing the breast with my non-dominant hand. I will ask the patient to press against her, hold her hands against her hip and press tightly. And I will confirm that the pectoralis major is taut by feeling the anterior axillary fold. After confirming that the pectoralis major is taut, I will move the lump along the fibers of the pectoralis major and perpendicular to it. If there is fixity to the pectoralis major, the mobility will be restricted along the direction of the fibers. And on relaxing the muscle, mobility will be improved.
What will you do if the lump is present in the lower part of the breast? It is for the upper part. If it's the lower outer or lower inner, what will you do?
I can check for fixity to the serratus anterior by asking the patient to push against the door and making the serratus anterior taut. And then
on the examination, you told there is no eczema was found. How will you differentiate an eczema or a Paget's disease?
Hello, ma'am.
On the examination, you told me
hello, ma'am.
No eczema was found. Am I audible there? Am I audible there?
Audible, madam, audible.
I think she has lost her.
Will you differentiate? And I'm asking, how will you differentiate the eczema and these Paget's
disease?
Eczema usually occurs in bilaterally.
Then?
Yes.
Then?
3 or 4 points quickly you can mention. Only bilaterally.
Hello?
Yes. I think your
answer.
internet connection.
Answer the question.
Eczema is usually seen bilaterally, seen in younger age group in lactating female. It is and eczema usually is associated with itching and responds to topical therapy. And Paget's disease is unilateral and does not respond to topical therapy. And a lump may be palpable just below the nipple areola complex.
Underlying the eczema, there will be a lump which will be found in case of a Paget's disease. And regarding your examination, you didn't mention about the size of the node. What is the size of the node?
It's about 2 centimeters, ma'am. 2 into 2 centimeters.
2 into 2 centimeter, but it is hard, but it is mobile, is it?
Mobile and
Is
solid.
it? And you have also told there is no evidence of distal metastasis. Till the investigation is over, you cannot put it like M0. It should be MX. Clinically, there is no evidence of distal metastasis, isn't it? So you
Yes,
can put it as MEX. Yes, sir.
Yes. Kailash Nath. Kailash.
Hello, is it audible?
Audible.
Yes,
You
sir.
know,
So, Malavika, what is the ideal position of breast examination? Most ideal position
Supine position
with the
with the arms raised against arms raised above her head.
supine with the in semi-recumbent 45-degree slanting.
So,
You said what is the earliest manifestation of malignancy of a breast lump? You already said it. Fixity to
fixity to breast tissue.
breast tissue. How do you assess that whether it is fixed to breast tissue or not? How do you test that?
The breast is fixed with the non-dominant hand, and the lump is moved, and there is no independent mobility of the lump with respect to the breast tissue.
Like how do you assess? How do you differentiate whether it is fixed to breast tissue or not fixed to breast tissue? Example, breast mouse, fibroadenoma. So how do you assess is it fixed to breast tissue or not fixed to breast tissue?
It is
If you can move,
really it is really mobile in a fibroadenoma. There will be
but in malignancy,
it is not freely mobile. There's no intrinsic mobility for the lump.
that means you can't move the lump from one quadrant to another quadrant. If you can move the lump from one quadrant to another quadrant, that means it is freely mobile, not fixed to breast tissue. If you cannot move, it is fixed to breast tissue. You said there is dimpling and puckering. Why is it due to?
It is due to infiltration of the Astley-Cooper's ligaments, which makes it inelastic. And on moving the lump, it pulls the Astley-Cooper ligaments get pulled, and there is inward pulling of the skin, causing a visible dimpling.
Dimpling and puckering doesn't mean what?
It does not mean the skin is involved.
When do you say skin is involved?
If there is any ulceration, sarcoid nodules, or if there is pseudo-orange appearance.
What is one by pseudo-orange appearance?
Infiltration of the subdermal lymphatics with tumor emboli, causing edema of the skin. This results in the openings of the hair follicles to sink within the skin, giving the appearance of an orange peel.
What is the importance of pseudo-orange appearance?
It is part of skin involvement. It makes it T4B.
If it more than 1/3 of breast is involved,
it may be considered as inflammatory carcinoma.
The stage is
T4D.
Why there is nipple retraction in malignancy?
Retraction in malignancy is circumferential and symmetrical, and it is due to periductal fibrosis.
Due to infiltration of lactiferous ducts.
Infiltration of the lactiferous ducts.
Lactiferous ducts.
okay. Yes. Yes. Anything else you want to ask? Kailash? Yes, now we go to Sulfika. Sulfika? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. I want to ask Malaga two questions. One, why you examine the other side, left side? What is the importance of examining the opposite side?
I wanted to look for any lump in the contralateral breast.
Yes. If it is there, what are the possibilities?
Can be a lobular carcinoma is associated with bilaterality, and familial carcinomas are also associated with bilaterality.
Actually, there are two possibilities. One is a second primary there on the opposite side,
It can
or
be
it
a
can
second primary or it can be a metastasis.
metastasis. Which one is common? Is it metastasis or primary? Which one is common?
Metastasis.
Actually, second primary is common, isn't it? It is around 2 to 4%, and the metastasis chance is around less than 1%, 0.5 to 1% only. So that is the importance of examining the other side, on the left side. Okay.
Yes.
Next question is, you examine the abdomen. What are the points you specifically look for? Abdominal examination.
I want to look for hepatomegaly. I want to look for free fluid suggestive of ascites. And in a premenopausal woman, I would also like to look for any ovarian mass.
Yes. Then what is the importance of rectal examination, PV examination?
Any nodules can be palpable in the pouch of Douglas.
Okay. What is that called?
Blummer shell.
Okay, one more question. You mentioned about 2 into 2 centimeter size lymph node in the axilla. Which group is palpable?
Pectoral group.
Is it anterior pectoral?
Anterior group, level 1.
Level 1. What are the other lymph nodes, and how do you classify the levels of lymph nodes in the axilla?
Axillary lymph nodes are classified into 3 based in respect to the pectoralis minor. The lymph nodes lateral to the pectoralis minor, the anterior, the lateral, and the posterior group. There is the pectoral, the brachial, and the subscapular nodes. Level 2 nodes are below the pectoralis minor, which is the central group, and the interpectoral or the rotors group of nodes. And medial to the pectoralis minor is the apical lymph nodes, apical group of lymph nodes.
Okay, what about infraclavicular lymph nodes? Where will you place that?
They can be considered as part of level 3.
Level 3, correct. What is that classification? What is the name of that classification? Is there any name for that? Oh, the Berg's classification, Berg, PERG. Okay. And you examine the opposite axilla on the left side also. How the lymphatics reaches there? Is it audible?
Yes, sir. I don't.
Yes, audible.
There are 2 mechanisms described. One is through the medial aspect, through the internal mammary, then go through the lymphatics in that direction. Second is hematogenous. So these are the 2 mechanisms described for lymph nodes in the opposite axilla. If it is there, that is metastasis, isn't it? That is the importance of that. Okay. So
Okay.
Yes, Malavika, the examination, what
Yes.
position you examine, palpate the lump, the breast? Sitting, lying down, what position? Did you palpate?
I'm sorry, sir.
The sitting position or lying down position? What position did you palpate the lump in the breast? Sitting, lying down?
In the supine position, you can palpate the breast lump against the chest wall, and better to for palpation, that is a better position.
Why you are not palpating the sitting position? What is the importance of palpating the supine position? And where should be the hand of the patient?
The hand
While
should be placed
palpating is
above the head of the patient.
Yes. Any other idea to palpate the sitting position? the lying down position in a large breast.
You can ask the patient to rotate her hips slightly and flex her knees to the opposite direction. That can give a better position for palpation.
Okay, lying down. Other important is in big breast you can miss the overhanging breast. Lump can be missed. That always palpation is better in the supine position. That is the classical description of palpation of the breast. And regarding the Paget disease, the important finding is the inspection. Nipple distance starting from the nipple towards the periphery in Paget disease.
Yes.
And eczema from the periphery towards the this. That you should mention. And you didn't mention the PR and PV during your systemic examination. That was very important. I know you didn't
Yes.
mention about that. Always mention. And what is the functions of ligaments of Cooper? What is the function?
They extend from the pectoralis fascia up till the dermis, and the function is to maintain the shape of the breast, the contour of the breast.
Okay. I think your diagnosed carcinoma of breast. Now you can go to the how you manage the examination, madam. Madam.
Yes, sir.
Now you
Yes.
can start the management. You can start the management. How you will start?
Okay. How will you
Yeah,
manage? What are the investigation you'll do? What are the investigations you will do?
Next, I would like to complete my triple assessment with an
Yes.
image. With an imaging, I would like to go for a bilateral sonomammogram to evaluate the breast as well as the axilla for this patient.
Then
And followed by, I want to get a histological diagnosis. I would like to go for a true-cut biopsy of the lesion, guided true-cut biopsy of the lesion.
you want to do your true cut?
A true-cut, in addition to giving me a larger sample and it has a higher sensitivity, it can also give me information regarding the invasiveness of the tumor, the grade of the tumor, as well as the hormone receptor status of the tumor.
Mainly for the hormone receptor status, isn't it? Then what else? Any other investigations?
Once I finish my full assessment and confirm my diagnosis, I would like to
Yes.
work up patient for a metastatic disease to rule
Like?
out metastasis.
What are the investigations you'll do to rule out the metastasis?
I would like to do a complete blood count and chest X-ray and an ultrasound of the abdomen and liver function test along with alkaline phosphatase levels.
Okay, if the alkaline phosphatase level is high, what does it indicate? Then how will you proceed?
It may indicate that there may be bony metastasis. If there's elevated alkaline phosphatase or bony or patient symptoms of bony pain, then I will go for a bone scan.
Bone scan. Just bone scan, or you want to do just a skeletal survey is enough? Just a skeletal survey is enough, or you want to do a bone scan?
I would like to do a bone scan.
You want to do a bone scan. Okay. What is the ideal investigations to rule out any pleural effusion or lung secondaries? What is the common secondaries in the respiratory system?
Contrast CT of the thorax.
And she's out of touch. Okay.
Does the
Answer that question.
I would like to do a contrast CT of the thorax to look for any malignant effusion or any.
What type of metastasis will you get in the lung?
Cannonball.
Cannonball is due to blood spread or lymphatic spread?
Blood spread.
Blood spread. It is a blood spread. If it is a lymphatic spread, what type of secondaries you will get in the lung?
Hilar lymphadenopathy.
No. Usually it will be the cotton fluffy appearance. That will tells you differentiate whether it is the lung secondaries is due to from the lymphatic or from the blood spread. What is the common, this one is metastasis in the respiratory system is? It's a cannonball appearance, a cannonball secondaries or a pleural effusion?
Common is malignant effusion.
Malignant effusion. In the ultrasonogram, what are the things you look for?
Hello.
In the ultrasonogram, what are the things you look for?
Hello.
Am I audible?
Random is audible, but candidates some problem for the
Candidate's
candidate.
net connection is, I think.
Pleural effusion. Pleural effusion.
Oh, okay, ma. In ultrasonogram, what are the things you look for?
In ultrasound of the breast, if there's a malignancy, you can see, you can define the size of the lesion along with the, whether it has a solid or a cystic component. You can look whether you can also assess the axillary lymph nodes and look for features of malignancy in the axillary lymph nodes, like a taller than wide size, loss of fatty hilum, increased
You
size
can also
of the lymph
detect
node,
clinically impalpable nodes, isn't it?
clinically impactable nodes.
Nodes, yes. Then ultrasonogram abdomen.
Ultrasound of the abdomen will reveal if there are any liver metastatic lesions or if there's any ascites or any other synchronous staining.
What is the importance of a hormonal status in this patient? It is early breast carcinoma. What is the importance of it?
Whether post-operatively hormone therapy can be given if she is hormone receptor positive.
Yes. Sir?
Okay, Sukumaran sir.
It has a better prognosis.
Sukumaran sir. The investigation, you are in investigation. Sir? Sukumaran sir. I will ask one question, Malavika. Why are not doing a FNS in this case? FNS is very simple. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. FNAC
Why
cannot
you avoid FNS?
FNAC cannot distinguish between in situ and invasive carcinoma, and it cannot give us the hormone receptor status. So better investigation would be a core biopsy.
It's better, but still there's a role if you roll any benign or FNAC or graded FNAC. What are the things required for FNAC?
Required for
What are things, required for FNAC?
We need if you're doing a guided FNAC, you can do it under ultrasound guidance with a 23 gauge needle.
Simple FNAC, what are things you require? If you want to do a FNAC from the side room, what are things you require for FNAC?
A syringe.
Not audible. Madam, you are not audible.
I don't know.
No, not saying. There's very basic investigation. Even though now the only some people going for a probe, but FNA is always the investigation for the breast to rule out benign condition. FNA is a jar containing absolute alcohol, 95% alcohol. The name of the public jar.
Okay.
23 gene needle and 10 cc syringe with the spirit and swab to clean the area, and you can aspirate the contents. The dry technique or this staining. You can aspirate the negative aspiration, spread or stain with the what is the stain used to FNAC? Any idea about staining?
Hematoxylin and eosin staining, Giemsa staining.
It is a dry smear. There's a Papinicola stain, no? Or Giemsa stain. You should know about the FNAC, and you are able to do FNAC in your practice. You are passing the MS, you are going in future getting MS, you are able to do a FNAC yourself, and you should know how to do FNAC and guided also. So now we will go other examinees regarding the this Kailas Nath. Quickly we can discuss the investigation. Kailas,
Okay, is it audible, Malavika?
Yes, sir.
it's audible, audible. We are the FNAC and the true cut. Yes, now we reach.
Suppose the tumor is, suppose that your lump is less than 2 centimeter size, which one you prefer? Can you do true cut biopsy?
No, there's more chance of getting a negative sample if the lump is less than 2 centimeters on core
Then what
biopsy.
will you do? Then what will you do?
You can do a stereotactic biopsy or an excision biopsy.
Why you want to do pathology? What are the things you examine in the immunohistochemistry?
Look for the estrogen and progesterone receptor positivity and HER2 new receptor positivity,
You want to
and along with Ki67 for mitotic index.
why you want to do ISC?
It helps. It can help in the post-operative adjuvant endocrine therapy, and also it is a prognosis of the lump.
Post-operative. Is there any indication for preoperative chemotherapy in early breast cancer?
Early breast cancer, surgery is the first preferred treatment.
Is there any indication for chemotherapy? Neoadjuvant
You can
early
assess the
breast cancer.
response to assess the in vivo response to chemotherapy. Neoadjuvant chemotherapy can be given.
What are the indications?
To downstage a tumor from to allow for a breast conservation surgery, you can give neoadjuvant chemotherapy.
I am telling about the early breast cancer. Node positive cases, triple negative cases, HER2 positive cases, extensive carcinoma in situ component. These are the indications, isn't it? What is luminal A, luminal B? You do know what is that luminal A, luminal B?
Luminal A is based on the gene assay, and they're categorized into categories, which roughly corresponds to their IHC counterparts, where luminal A is ERPR positive, HER2 negative, and Ki67 is low, and luminal B is ERPR positive, HER2 negative, and Ki67 high. And HER2 enriched is when there's HER2 positivity with hormone receptor negative, and triple negative roughly corresponds to basal-like type of tumor, which is where ERPR and HER2 new receptor is negative.
Which one has got worse prognosis? Which one has got better?
Triple negative has the worst prognosis. Luminal A has the best prognosis.
And worst prognosis, HER2 positive also.
HER2 positive.
Also. So what is sentinel node? Hello?
Sentinel node biopsy is used to
what is the indication for sentinel node? Indication?
The indication is in a clinically and radiologically node negative patient to evaluate the axilla while doing a breast conservation surgery to avoid axillary.
How do you do sentinel node biopsy?
It is done using isosulfan blue or technetium labeled colloid, which is given peritumorally in the subdermal region, either on the previous day of the surgery. If you're giving it on the previous day, 2.5 millicurie of technetium labeled colloid is given, and preoperative lymphoscintigraphy is done, and or 0.5 millicurie of technetium labeled colloid is given on the day of the surgery, and the axilla is examined, evaluated with a gamma camera to visualize the hotspot for the lymph node, and an incision is made, and the sentinel node is biopsied. is taken for biopsy and sent for frozen section.
Where do
Okay.
for incision
Manasa.
for sentinel node?
Axillary at the where the site at the site of the maximum intensity of the hotspot is seen, or at the lower axillary lower limit of the axillary hairline can also be done.
So
And you-
come back to you answer that your triple assessment. I think you
Yes, sir.
deviated from the you mentioned the triple assessment. You once
Yes.
you mention ultrasound, then suddenly you deviate to the true cut biopsy, etc. But what your true cut biopsy? What is the investigation? One is ultrasound. You mentioned the axilla. And
Bilateral
what important
mammogram.
investigation? No, that you are not discussed, not mentioned. So you'll discuss about the after triple assessment is the
Bilateral
clinical,
mammogram.
radiological, and the pathological. So clinical assessment is over. Next is the radiological assessment. That is mentioned. One you mentioned ultrasound because you want to know the lymph scans, number of lymph nodes involved or not, or solid result. Next important investigation is mammography. So Sulfikar. Hello,
Yes, sir.
Sulfikar.
Yes.
Sir, now in the this thing, mammography. According to the triple assessment.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Can you hear me? Yes.
Hi. What about
Actually, your diagnosis is carcinoma breast, early breast carcinoma, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
What is the stage?
2B.
Stage 2B, because it is T2N1 lesion, isn't it?
N1 lesion.
We once again recap your investigation method.
Yes, sir.
Early breast carcinoma, how will you investigate?
First, I'll complete my triple assessment with a bilateral mammogram, a sonomammogram, and I will also go for a tissue diagnosis with a FNAC or a core biopsy. And
Yes. So
then-
bilateral mammogram. You said mammogram on the same side. Why?
to look for any multicentricity or multifocal
Okay. Why you
lesion.
want to do mammogram on the other side?
Look for any synchronous lesions or any metastasis
Correct.
to the
Then what are the mammogram findings of malignancy? Can you enumerate 2 or 3?
the lump can be seen discretely with circulation. Microcalcifications can be seen. There can be architectural distortions, and there can be axillary nodes can be visible on mammogram.
Okay, so after mammogram, you go for true cut biopsy, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Any next investigation?
Then I would like to go for a full workup of the patient to assess for any metastasis.
What are they?
I would go for a complete blood count along with LFT, including alkaline phosphatase. And then I would like to go for a chest X-ray and an ultrasound of the abdomen to look for any metastasis to the lungs or the.
Will you go for CT chest initially for early breast carcinoma?
If the patient can afford it, as contrast CT thorax is ideal.
No. For early breast carcinoma, CT chest is not needed as initial workup. But for LABC, it is indicated. Okay. Then what about bone scan? What are the indication for bone scan in the case of early breast carcinoma?
If the patient complains of symptoms suggestive of a bony metastasis like bony pain, or if there is any elevated alkaline phosphatase levels.
Or
Elevated
X-ray findings.
or X-ray findings suggestive of osteolytic lesions.
Okay. Next, what about MRI scan? Any indication for MRI scan in early breast carcinoma?
MRI scan is done usually in patients with a palpable lymph node without a palpable mass in the breast. It can be done as a screening for patients with high risk for malignancy, those who have BRCA1 or BRCA2 gene mutations. patients with implants, patients who have had previous surgery to the breast and a previous scar to differentiate a scar from a recurrence. And MRIs also indicated if if the core biopsy comes as a lobular carcinoma, which has a propensity to have bilateral malignancy, and usually they are not visible on mammogram because they do not cause calcifications, microcalcifications.
Okay, also during pregnancy, if there is suspicious, yes, we can do. T0N1 lesion, you can do, isn't it? You mentioned that. So these are the investigations you do in case of early breast carcinoma. You confirm the status like that. Then how will you go for management? Sir, over to you, sir.
Yes. So you think you investigated, your diagnosis is a early breast carcinoma. What surgery will you advise? One more that you any contraindication of mammogram?
Pregnancy,
What age you not advise mammogram? At what age?
less than 35 years in a dense breast, mammogram is not advised. Ultrasound is not.
Contraindication less than 30. Okay, your mammogram, any complication mammogram?
Can cause it can cause severe pain to the breast and hemorrhage and contusion.
Okay, mammogram cover now. How will you manage this? What surgery you advise? You consider age, everything.
I would like
What
to
surgery?
go for a breast conservation surgery if the patient is willing for post-operative radiotherapy. And
What is the age of the patient?
58.
Eh?
58.
Age? 15.
58.
Okay. Oh. You have the choice of the patient. Megan,
Yes.
with the BCT, breast conservation therapy, or modified.
Or a modified radical mastectomy if she is not motivated to.
Planning for breast conservative surgery, what are the advice you will take the patient? What are the precautions you discuss with the patient? You are planning breast
I will
conservation.
explain to the patient that there is a slightly higher risk of recurrence while doing breast conservation therapy, even though it does not affect long-term survival. And I will explain that the radiotherapy is part of the treatment, without which the recurrence rate can be almost as high as 30 to 40%. So
That is important. Radiotherapy is part of the treatment.
Complete the surgery along with the radiotherapy.
BCS, any contraindications? What are the contraindications? Absolute contraindication with BCS?
Absolute
Relative contraindication,
contraindications
absolute
are
one.
first and second trimester of pregnancy. First and second trimester of pregnancy, multicentricity and multifocality, inability to have a well-defined lump, and ability to get a negative margin. And these are the absolute contraindications. Relative contraindications include active systemic lupus erythematosus and other connective tissue disorders, severe heart disease and severe lung disease, and patients with Li-Fraumeni syndrome, and contraindications for BCS. Hello? 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 Hello?
I think sir lost the connection. So in between, what is the difference between multicentricity and multifocality?
Multicentricity is when the tumor is there in more than one quadrant, and multifocality is the tumor is present within the same quadrant.
Okay. Okay. Is it a absolute contraindication?
Multifocality, if a sufficient margin can be achieved without significant distortion to the breast shape, it can be attempted.
Okay, in this case, will you go for sentinel lymph node biopsy?
Palpable lymph node is present, so I have to clear the axilla and go for axillary dissection. So there is no role for sentinel lymph node biopsy.
Okay, BCS, what is the margin, adequate margin needed?
1 centimeter macroscopic margin and no tumor on inked border, on inked margin if it is a invasive carcinoma, and if it's ductal carcinoma in situ, 2 millimeter clearance is required.
Then you said axillary lymph node is there. Will you take a FNAC from that lymph node?
Yes, sir. To confirm whether it is metastatic lymph node.
Okay. Then what is the extent of doing axillary dissection or axillary clearance? What are the boundaries?
Clear it till the axillary vein, the level 1 and level 2 lymph nodes are cleared. Medially till the clavipectoral fascia and
No, no. Axillary clearance medially. Costoclavicular ligament, Halstead's ligament.
clavicular, costoclavicular ligament.
Above the axillary vein, below to the angular vein, and laterally to the latissimus dorsi, isn't it?
Right.
That is the margin. Sukumar sir?
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
You mentioned that you are doing the axillary dissection. What is the purpose of axillary dissection? Why you are simply
Stage the
removing
axilla.
Yeah?
To stage the axilla.
So you said, what is the importance of doing sentinel biopsy or advantage? Sentinel node biopsy.
Advantage is if the sentinel biopsy comes as negative, you can avoid an axillary dissection in the patient, and thus reduce the risk of lymphedema in the patient.
So when will you plan for this axillary dissection? Will you visit delayed or will you do later?
In this patient, because she is already node positive and I'm not planning to do a sentinel node biopsy, I can do it in the same setting. If I'm doing a excision biopsy in a patient without a confirmed malignancy and the biopsy report comes as malignancy, then I can do the axillary dissection as a separate procedure.
So how you treat the axilla? First, the treatment for this patient for axilla if lymph node is negative, even in sentinel node biopsy.
If sentinel lymph node biopsy is negative, then I don't need to dissect the axilla.
Then what will you, how will you follow up the patient?
Sorry, sir.
How will you follow up this patient with the lymph node? This can occur later. Is it possible?
Yes, sir.
Because you are keeping the lymph node there, can it be secondly infected or infiltrated?
Yes, it can be say. To take serial ultrasound of the axilla.
So you have to follow up the patient and look for the development of axillary lymph nodes there. What are levels you have mentioned that you are removing the up to the level 2?
Up to level 2.
What is it possible to do the level 3? Is it required always?
Level 3 dissection is only required if there is gross enlargement of level 3 lymph nodes.
What is the advantage of removing level 3 lymph nodes?
Advantage. Avoid radiotherapy.
Is it changing the prognosis?
It doesn't affect. It does not change.
If you are removing the level 3 lymph nodes.
You don't need to give radiotherapy to the axilla.
No, the lymph nodes, when the number of lymph nodes are increased, that is when you are doing the dissection, the possibility of getting positive lymph nodes are there. Otherwise, it is not having any added advantage. What is the danger of removing the level 3 lymph nodes?
There's greater risk of lymphedema and injury to the axillary vein.
Axillary. Increased risk of lymphedema, and it is not having any added advantages other than the yield of lymph node. There is possibility of positivity. So if the lymph nodes are there, what else treatment you are giving if the lymph nodes are more positive lymph nodes, or is there any peculiar
If
treatment?
there is
Positive.
wide local existence, if the lymph nodes come as more than 4 nodes positive for metastasis, radiotherapy should be given to the chest, the supraclavicular and infraclavicular fossa, as well as the mammary nodes. If 1 to 3 nodes are positive, whole breast radiotherapy should be given, and radiotherapy to the supraclavicular and infraclavicular fossa is suggested. It is recommended to give. And if nodes are negative in the axillary dissection, then radiotherapy needs to be given only to the whole breast.
So about that X-ray chest, what are the findings in favor of the secondaries in the X-ray chest? You mentioned only two. That is cannonball appearance and also the pleural effusion. Any other X-ray finding is
Cotton.
possible? Miliary transmematosis, that is the lymphatic spread to the lung, which is producing miliary lesions. Next is the widening of the mediastinum, that may be because of the internal mammary chain of lymph nodes involvement. And yet another one is the erosion of the rib. And if you are lucky enough, you can see the thoracic spine also, which is involved because of the secondaries. So all these possibilities are there, especially a disseminated disease, metastatic disease, or locally advanced disease. When you are doing the study of the X-ray, you have to see all these things, all possibilities are there. Why the cannonball appearance is there? Why it is rounded and cannonball?
I don't know.
Yes.
I don't
What?
know. I don't know.
So you already mentioned it is blood-borne, and it is an end artery. Alveolar artery is an end artery, and the tumor is implanted there. From there, the tumor is pulling from all around because of the lung compliance, the elasticity of the lung. So it is expanding simultaneously all around and producing that cannonball appearance. Sir.
Okay. Yeah, I think last time we discussed LABC extension, so this time we little more discuss about the. I will ask you a question about the this breast conservative therapy. How will you send the specimen after breast conservative therapy?
To tag the specimen with sutures with a long lateral and a short superior.
How many stitches? Which are the areas you will put the stitches or clips? Mention.
Superiorly, laterally.
Not superiorly, anteriorly. How many stitches?
Anterior, one stitch.
Medially.
Medially, 2 stitches.
Inferiorly?
Inferiorly, 3 stitches.
Inferiorly, 3. Even after your consent, you can chance for recurrence after the BLABC, after the breast conservative. What are the causes for recurrence after a breast conservative management? What are causes?
Positive margins after the wide localization.
What are the causes?
Positive margin positivity.
Reason for the positive margins in a breast conservative surgery specimen.
Inadequate normal tissue, rim of normal tissue being taken during the surgery, an impalpable lesion that was this thing, patient with
excessive case of palpation. I mean the palpation. What are the causes?
Presence of microcalcifications beyond the mass and a DCIS component.
Presence of micro beyond your lesion. In a simple method, you can have patient factor, tumor factor, treatment factor. What is the patient factor for recurrence? Patient factor. Younger the patient's chance for recurrence to tumor is more. Younger, that is of age based. And tumor factor. What are tumor factors? Recurrence.
High grade tumors
High, very good. High grade tumor.
and tumors that are hormone receptor negative.
Right. Hormone receptor negative.
Then tumor that is large in size of the tumor.
Large size some extent. Then
Node positivity.
multicentricity, multiple tumors, lymphovascular invasion, and histology of tumor. Lobular carcinoma, invasive liver, more chance for recurrence, and location of tumor. So there is a patient factor, tumor factor, treatment factor. Treatment factor you mentioned, inadequate removal, the treatment factor already mentioned. These are the chance for recurrence. Once you recur, during the procedure, any other technique to avoid the recurrence? Any modern technique available?
Frozen section of the margins can be done.
Process section. Then in the treatment, in the technique, in the method of removal of any other advanced things available.
Preoperative.
During the surgery,
marking
you are removing the lump. Any other additional treatment you can offer in the cavity? As a PG, you should know any other additional treatment you can offer to the cavity there during the treatment. That's a RFA, radio frequency ablation, is now available. So the margin can be one more margin radio, and you can destroy the cells because of the radio frequency ablation. That is starburst prongs are available. That is the latest availability of the margins in the cavity. RFA you can utilize that. That is a model. So you after the surgery there is a recurrence. Then what you do? There is a recurrence is there.
Then I can offer re-excision, and if the patient is not filling for that, mastectomy.
Oh, so re-excision, or you will do for a mastectomy. So single incision, 2 incision for the breast conservative management.
2 incision.
For what?
One for the over the lump, and one at the inferior axillary hairline for the axillary dissection.
Any other incision? One is hairline incision. Any other incision advised? The axilla?
The axillary fold.
Anterior fold incision. Or lacy S-shaped incision. These are the incision for axilla. So, madam, do you want to add the axilla dissection?
Axilla dissection. What do you mean by axillary sampling?
By sampling, just take a few nodes to assess malignancy.
When nodes is palpable, or when you have seen the nodes, it is only axillary dissection or the clearance. Before the advent of sentinel node dissection, a sentinel node, if there is clinically as well as radiologically impalpable nodes, we'll take a fibrofatty tissue which is available in the axilla and send it for the histopathological examination. That is the axillary sampling. In BCS, if a sentinel node is negative, then what will you do to the axilla?
You don't need to do anything.
You give radiotherapy to the axilla?
It's not required. If sentinel node is negative.
What is the sensitivity of the sentinel node dissection?
90%.
What about the 10%? So if it is better to give a radiotherapy to the axilla, even if the sentinel node dissection is negative, because it is postulated that not all nodes which can be picked by the our sentinel node dissection. What about if the tumor is in the inner quadrant,
And then,
outer inner or lower inner quadrant?
then the sentinel node can be to the internal mammary chain of lymph nodes.
Okay, then how will you remove that?
You cannot remove those nodes.
So the treatment is
Radiotherapy to the internal mammary nodes as well as the supraclavicular and infraclavicular nodes, along with radiotherapy to the breast and chest wall.
breast and chest wall. Is this ideal breast conservation surgery in a medial compartment? Sorry, in the inner compartment, outer inner or lower inner, compared to the outer, upper outer or lower outer quadrant?
Better in the upper outer quadrant because you can also do a lymph node dissection.
No, always if it is in the inner quadrant, you should very carefully tell the patient that patient has to be compliant enough. Otherwise, it is very difficult. Patient may have a recurrence. Patient may have a node in the internal mammary chain. That too, especially in the young females with a high-grade tumor. So the ideal treatment for a young female is, even it is early breast carcinoma, what is the ideal treatment for a young female?
Mastectomy.
That is the ideal one. You can prevent the recurrence as well as the patient may not be compliant enough to come regularly and this one. And again, the tumor grading. Tumor grading is also another factor which contribute to your treatment option, whether you want to do a BCS or a mastectomy. Yes,
So,
sir?
Madam said always discuss with the patient whether to BCS or mastectomy. What is
Yes.
cafeteria approach?
Variety of options are given to the patient with the risks and benefits of each, and the patient is along with the patient is given the opportunity to choose the treatment that is best suited for her, considering her social and economic priorities.
I go to Kailas Nathan. Kailas Nathan, you can add your treatment surgery part.
Can you hear me? Hello?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Malavika,
Yes, sir.
what are the good histological types of tumor? Good prognostic histological types?
Tubular type and papillary type have good prognosis.
Tubular, papillary, cribriform,
Reform
and mucinous type. What is the
Medullary.
commonest type?
Medullary type.
Medullary also. What is the commonest type?
Not otherwise
Hello?
specified. Ductal carcinoma, ductal carcinoma with not invasive ductal carcinoma, not otherwise specified.
How will you grade the tumor?
Yes.
How will you grade? What is Bloom-Richardson grading? How do you grade?
The grading is based on three factors: the mitotic index, tubule formation, and the nuclear pleomorphism. Each category is given a score from 1 to 3.
Is it 3 or 4 factors? Himalayan 3 or 4 factors?
3 factors.
No differentiation not included. What are the factors you mentioned?
Nuclear
Percentage of
Tubular formation, 1. Second,
tubular formation, nuclear pleomorphism,
then
mitotic rate.
mitotic rate.
and fourth one, different well differentiated, poorly differentiated, intermediate. The 4 factors are these Bloom-Richardson criteria, not 3 factors. 4 factors. Okay.
Regarding the BCS, breast conservative surgery, how do you do BCS surgery? Hello?
Yeah, the incision is made over the lump and flaps are not raised. The incision is deepened and a 1 centimeter margin is taken around the tumor and the tumor is excised till the pectoral fascia and the whole tumor is
If the
removed.
pectoral fascia is involved, what will you do? If the pectoral fascia is involved.
If the pectoral fascia is removed, the pectoral fascia along is also taken with the tumor.
And pectoralis major muscle, some part of
And
the
the,
muscle
and the
should also.
sliver of the muscle is also taken with the tumor. And
Then
the cavity is left open and is not closed, and no drains must be placed.
no drain, no obliteration.
Putting
No
incision, Malay incision, what lines are you prefer? Language line or some other lines? What lines? You should consider what lines? Any lines? What is the language line?
The skin tension lines.
What is the name of it? Language line, not skin tension. That is the depend the collagen fibers. Language line. What is this line? Here, what more cosmetic? What lines?
The skin tension
Language
line.
line and circular line. This is also more horizontal line. What is the name of the line? You know or not? Line of Kreisel. That is transverse line, not the line of language. These are resting. The resting time, the skin tension during the resting time. That should be preferably for the cosmetic approach. That should consider, not the line of language. Line of Kreisel. That is more these horizontal lines. So you mentioned these things, and now we'll go to Sulfikar. Sulfikar, this is.
I think she is answering almost all questions in the management. Can you enumerate that in order? Management. It's a case of early breast carcinoma, 58-year-old female. You first suggest breast conservation surgery. Proceed.
If I do the breast conservation surgery along, and the specimen is sent for biopsy. Based on the biopsy result and the hormone receptor status and the nuclear grade of the tumor, I will suggest adjuvant therapy. If the patient is hormone receptor positive, I can suggest adjuvant therapy and endocrine therapy. And if it is a high-grade tumor, and especially in a node-positive tumor, I will also advise adjuvant chemotherapy followed by radiotherapy. If it is in this patient, I would go for the chemotherapy before the radiotherapy.
Okay, what are the indications for chemotherapy in CA breast?
Sorry, sir.
Indication for chemotherapy in carcinoma breast.
Indications are high-grade tumors, especially in hormone receptor negative tumors, and those patients with node positivity. Good candidate for.
So for a low-grade tumor, chemotherapy not indicated?
Low-grade tumors with node positivity also chemotherapy is given.
Actually, mainly two indications. One is size more than 1 centimeter. Nowadays, some centers give chemotherapy for even more than 0.5 centimeter lesions, and a node positivity or not positivity. You can remember like that, okay? So breast conservation surgery, chemotherapy is needed for this patient. Then radiotherapy, you said, already said.
Based on the number of nodes positive in the X-ray dissection,
You
I will
already
radiotherapy
right.
for the patient. And I will also give
Correct.
endocrine therapy can be given along with the radiotherapy.
What is endocrine therapy?
If she is ER or PR positive, I would like to give, since she's a postmenopausal patient, I would like to give aromatase inhibitors to the patient, like letrozole, anastrozole, or exemestane.
Why you prefer aromatase inhibitors in postmenopausal patients?
In postmenopausal patients, the estrogen is more from the peripheral conversion of androgens to estrogens. So aromatase inhibitors can inhibit the peripheral conversion to estrogen.
Okay. What are the drugs? Letrozole and?
Exemestane and anastrozole.
Okay. What about tamoxifen?
Tamoxifen is selected estrogen receptor modulators, and it is given in a premenopausal woman. It has an antagonist effect to the estrogen receptors in the breast.
how long it is usually given?
Should be given for 5 years, and if after 5 years the patient is still premenopausal, it is given for another 5 years.
Okay, and now it is 10 years. 10 years is better, isn't it? Okay. So these are the treatment options for this patient. If you are going for a MRM, will you give radiotherapy in all cases?
Not in all cases.
What are the
Radiotherapy,
indications?
high-grade tumors
Yes.
and with node positivity, and patients with
High-grade lesions, size more than 5 centimeters.
height more than 5.
Then,
And
then
extensive PCIS component.
okay, then margin positivity. What are the generally? What are the indications for radiotherapy? That was the question. Part of PCS. Yes. Sir,
Okay. Now I will ask certain general questions. Malavika, what is
Yes.
Patty's mastectomy?
Patties. It is a modified radical mastectomy where the pectoralis minor is removed and all level 1, level 2, and level 3 axillary lymph nodes are cleared.
Ocean gloss?
Ocean clause is when the pectoralis minor is retracted and only the level 1 and level 2 lymph nodes are
The
removed
pectoralis
along
minor
with
only divided but not removed. What is the name?
scanlons.
And not. These are the certain mastectomies you should know. Or any role of radical mastectomy, the Halsted mastectomy nowadays? Halsted.
No role.
There is advanced malignancy. There is a role for Halsted mastectomy in advanced malignancy. What do you mean by toilet mastectomy?
Toilet mastectomy is usually done in a pungating carcinoma of the breast.
Last time
As a without, it is not done with a curative intent.
we
The removal of the entire breast.
Okay, what is the Nottingham this prognostic index? Nottingham prognostic index.
It's a prognostic index that is calculated as 0.2 into the size of the tumor in centimeters plus the grade of the tumor and the nodal status, and a score less than 3.4 is considered a good prognosis, and score more than 5.4 is considered a poor prognosis.
One physiological. What are the hormones helping development of breast? What are the hormones? Development of breast.
Estrogen and prolactin.
Estrogen, prolactin, then that's all.
And
Prolactin is for lactation, not the development. Development is estrogen, progesterone, and then other hormones.
oxytocin.
No. Development of the breast hormone.
FSH.
Adrenal hormones, anti-pituitary hormones, and tropical the thyroid and insulin hormones. These are the hormones helping development of this normal breast. What do you mean by this gynecomastia?
Enlargement of the breast in males.
Breast and male. And what is the commonest benign condition of the breast? Mention commonest.
Causing gynecomastia.
No. This other question. What is the commonest benign conditions? Tell two conditions. Commonest benign condition.
Fibroadenoma.
What are types of fibroadenoma? How many types?
2 types.
What are they?
The intraductal and intracanalicular.
That is a pathological, clinical types of
Hard
fibroadenoma.
and soft. Hard and the soft.
Soft fibroadenoma. It's like that. Soft fibroadenoma. I was saying it's soft. Advanced all firm fibroadenoma. Only no soft.
Oh.
Giant fibroadenoma. What is when you call giant fibroadenoma? Giant,
Size more than 5 centimeters.
giant fibroadenoma, juvenile fibroadenoma. A large fibroadenoma occur in adolescent time, usually bilateral. Juvenile fibroadenoma. These are the types of benign condition of. What is the in pathology? If you have breast tumor, you're cutting with a knife. What are the features? A gross specimen, you're cutting with a knife.
Hard and gritty
Gritty
consistency, gritty feeling,
Yes.
and
Yes.
white. It's white on cut section.
Gray color
Gray on
or
cut.
unripe pear shaped fruit, pear shape or concave surface, concave, and
Concave.
color is gray, gritty feelings, and no capsulation, and there will be hemorrhagic or necrotic areas. These are characteristic. That's a surgical pathology of tumor of a breast. And once you are touch and you see what are the things inside, and you also future back send it to the pathologist. And how many lymph nodes you in MRM actually require you to remove? How many lymph nodes? You have to count it. How many
Minimum
lymph
of
nodes?
10 nodes should be
Minimum of
10 nodes should be sent for biopsy.
in a Hallstatt all time how many lymph nodes?
In Halsted, we're removing all the nodes. So
All the 60 nodes that you have to remove. Any important contribution on Hallstatt? Any important contributions in the history of also a great surgeon? Also ligament related to the breast already is excess. Postoclavicular ligament is also ligament. Any other important contribution?
radical
The last question,
mastectomy.
eh? It won't affect
Radical
your
mastectomy.
there's a passing or not. It will just occasionally we will, the examination asks some question. If you are doing very well, some history to one way. Any contribution other than Hurst ligament and surgery? The person who
Radical mastectomy.
invented rubber blouses. Now you are using lattice blouses. That's I think very most important contribution by a great surgeon of Halstead. I think now we the time for we go to our the evaluators that our great surgeons and teachers. Then sir. Oh, dancer. So Dan was a dancer not there.
Okay. Yeah. Every time I mention 10 points, so I will go to 10 points. The various positions were mentioned for the examination, but the ideal will be a supine, the semi-recumbent position at 45-degree angle. That will be the ideal for a better palpation. Then you should know Halsted was mentioned, so you should know what is Halstedian concept of spread of carcinoma breast. The Halsted thought that it is a stage progression of the disease starting from the breast, then it will go to axilla, and then it will spread to the system from there, disseminate from there. Then came the Fisher concept. That also, what is the Fisher concept, Malavika? Any idea?
This
What
tumor has distant micrometastasis at the time of presentation.
it
itself.
is from the very
The
beginning
initial-
a systemic disease, and the final theory of Hellman spectrum theory mentioning that it's a heterogeneous disease with proclivity to remain localized or metastasis. Then you should know the examination. In the examination, the order of palpation of the axilla, which all lymph nodes you examine from front and from behind. Any idea?
From
Of
the
course,
front,
the levels, yeah.
the pectoral, central, and the brachial group of nodes are examined from the, and the
And
apical groups
also
are
the
examined from
apical,
the
and
front,
also the
and
apical
the subscapular and the supraclavicular nodes are examined from behind.
from the back. So that is the, even though the name was mentioned, levels of Berg for the axillary levels of nodes. The 85% of the axillary lymphatics will go to the breast lymphatics will go to axilla, and the 15% to the internal mammary. And it is the posterior 1/3 of the breast which is mainly draining to the internal mammary nodes. And also you should remember that the inner quadrant and will go to the contralateral also, contralateral breast also. Now the metastasis, coming to metastasis, it was mentioned various places. You should know the spread of the carcinoma of breast, the local spread, then the lymphatic spread, then the bloodstream spread, and the order in which the bones are involved. Of course, Govi sir was mentioning LFT. Then the pathology, you should know TDLU. The terminal duct lobular unit is the origin of the, that is how you classify it into ductal and lobular. Both may be in situ or infiltrating. And the infiltrating again into the special types, ST and NST, no special type. And the special types were mentioned by Kailas Nath. Then the predisposing factors were discussed. You should know two protective factors. One is early menarche. Protective factors are breastfeeding more than 2 years. That is one. And first pregnancy less than 21. So these are two protective factors, more than 2 years of breastfeeding and first pregnancy less than 21 years. Now the BRCA 1, 2 were not mentioned. The BRCA 1 is seen in which chromosome?
Chromosome
Malavika?
17 in the long arm of the
And
chromosome.
what is the chance for BRCA1 to get a malignancy of the breast? How many percentage? Suppose somebody is BRCA1 positive, how many percentage will develop
50 to
carcinoma
70%.
breast?
50 to 70%.
By the age of 70 years, maybe 85. But by 50% will get a second primary. That is another factor. And 20 to 40% there is chance for ovarian malignancy. What is the importance of BRCA2?
BRCA2 can be associated with male breast cancer.
How many percentage? 4 to 6%. 4 to 6% of male cancers are as a result of BRCA2. Then, of course, the biopsy of choice is a core biopsy only. That is the standard. But in inflammatory carcinoma, or if there is ulceration, there is a role for punch biopsy. Now, clinical points for diagnosis of breast cancer is a lump which is fixed to the breast. If axillary nodes are there or skin involvement is there, they are all added points for the diagnosis of. But most important thing to remember is you don't make a diagnosis of breast cancer when you get a mobile lump, or reverse also. You say that the lump is fixed to the breast and then make a diagnosis of fibroadenoma. Those things you should not do. And then the sequencing of treatment, that also you should know. Surgery, followed by chemo, followed by radiotherapy and hormone therapy. Nowadays, there is a role for anterior chemotherapy for early breast cancer also, which I think Zulfikar was mentioning, especially T1, T2, N0, luminal A. There is, you can avoid also chemo. So you should know that you can avoid chemotherapy. Second is there is role for anterior chemotherapy also. Now the biomarkers, that name was not mentioned. The biomarkers are the 5, ER, PR, HER2, Ki67, and grade. So these are the five biomarkers. So you have to do the biomarkers in all cases. And after getting the biomarkers, you classify into luminal A, luminal B, HER2 positive, or triple negative. Now the investigation MRI was mentioned. Remember that you should have a minimum 1.5 Tesla machine. That is a must. Second is that there should be breast coil. You cannot just send this to any place and do MRI of the breast. And interpretation is also important. Morphology is there, kinetics is there. What type of kinetics you get in malignancy by doing MRI, Malavika? The kinetics.
I don't know, sir.
It is called the type 3 enhancement. Type 3 enhancements mean rapid wash-in and a rapid washout. That is the type 3 enhancement. So, and the indications for MRI also mentioned, but most important, I will say that of course, you can add young patients with BRCA, high-risk patients, BRCA. Maybe breast is very dense, you have to do sometimes MRI. Then axillary meds with unknown primary, again MRI. And post-chemo for the for cases for breast conservation, again you can do MRI. Of course, then equivocal, all equivocal mammograms, lobular carcinoma, pregnancy, all those things are other indications for MRI. So remember that you need a good MRI setup of 1.5 Tesla minimum, and breast coil should be available. And the kinetics is very important, the type 3 enhancement. So I'm sure more are there. I have mentioned toll now. Whenever we are discussing LABC, we can go for more points. I think right now that is enough for today's discussion.
Thank you.
I think Madhu Murali is there in place of Rajan, Gopi. Madhu Murali, Rajan has entrusted Madhu Murali to on his behalf. So Madhu Murali may be there. I don't know. Madhu Murali is there? Hello? Rajan told me that he has entrusted Madhu Murali. Yeah, Madhu Murali is there. He has appeared. Your comments, Madhu Murali.
No, sir, Rajan sir actually had not interested me. I was in the webinar mode. So I'm now being permitted into the, meeting mode. So I was in the webinar mode. I think the candidate was really good. I should congratulate her for the good presentation. I just had, I think most of things have been covered. Just one or two points that I would like to clarify from the thing is that, one is that there was a bit of confusion regarding what should be the clinical staging when you mention like TNM. Somewhere around there was a mention that when you don't have a metastatic workup, you should use MX. I think I would like to disagree on that point.
It should be M0 only.
When you have a clinical staging, you should stick to M0. You may change that after your investigations. There is no problem in that. But when you present in the examination, you make a metastatic diagnosis based on the clinical findings. So when it's a clinical TNM, it is CT, N and M should be M0. This is specifically advised by the AJCC to avoid the misuse of MX. Because if you put MX for every other patient and when you want to do an audit of your clinical staging, you won't have a data on what the M status based on the clinical finding is. So MX has been misused by so many people. So at least for the sake of postgraduates who are listening to this, let me clarify, MX should not be misused. MX can be used if you have lost, if you don't have any option of evaluating that metastatic potential. So at the end of a clinical examination, you should say M0 and not MX. That is the first thing I want to clarify. Second thing I want to clarify regarding Lakshmi, you had discussed the things very clearly, but then in between you seem to say that local recurrence will not affect the survival. Again, since you discussed very deep into theory parts also, and since you seem to a person who have read breast cancer very well, let me clarify that breast conservation local recurrence is slightly higher than mastectomy, and that local recurrence does have an impact on survival. For every 4 local recurrences that you prevent, you save 1 life. Or in other words, for every 4 local recurrences, 1 person will die because of the local recurrence. So it is generally said that local recurrences will not have an impact on survival, but that has been disproved over the last few years. Local recurrence is higher in breast conservation, slightly higher in breast conservation, but it also has an impact on survival. For every 4 local recurrences, you lose 1 life. That's about one of the statement you made. Second, regarding sentinel node biopsy and then indications for radiation. Again, if you have a sentinel node negative axilla, I don't think you should be irradiating the axilla. The radiation post mastectomy or post breast conservation is limited to chest wall, supraclavicular fossa, and may include the internal mammary if you had internal mammary nodes enlarged radiologically. So the indication or the field of irradiation, whether it's post mastectomy or post BCS, is the chest wall and supraclavicular fossa, and plus or minus internal mammary lymph nodes if they are enlarged radiologically, or unfortunately if your sentinel node has gone into the internal mammary. You usually don't irradiate the axilla unless it has been an improper axillary dissection where you are left behind significant number of disease, like your lymph node yield is not adequate. Then you add on an axillary field. That is separate entity. Chest wall irradiation is chest wall plus supraclavicular fossa. Axilla is separate. You irradiate the axilla only if it has been an improper axillary dissection or gross disease has been left behind in the axilla. So if the axilla is N0 or if the axilla has been properly dissected, you don't add an axillary field because it adds on to the morbidity of the shoulder dysfunction and arm edema. One another point which I would like to disagree with Pratibha madam is that you somewhere mentioned that for a younger patient, you would prefer mastectomy, which I would definitely disagree, madam. Sorry for that. Younger patients are the ones I would suggest breast conservation would be more appropriate because it's the group of people who would like to conserve the breast. I do agree with you, madam, that local recurrence is slightly higher in a younger patient when compared to postmenopausal patient. Definitely, madam's point that premenopausal patients have a slightly increased chance of local recurrence. I don't think that is an indication for a mastectomy because in a good breast conservation, the local recurrence would be somewhere around 3%. 3%. In a mastectomy, it's 1%. So it's about 1 versus 3. So I would say that you would tend to do more of conservation in a younger patient than more of mastectomy in an elder patient. That's all. So these are the few things I wanted to clarify based on the discussions that were held over here. Gobi sir, anything more? Or Babu sir, thank you for
Madhuri, thank you very much for your valuable comments. And I already sent twice a link to you. That if you get a link, that means you are invited. So you should participate. Special case.
No, any option I am there, but I am in the webinar mode, so I can't comment. That's the only problem. I am in the webinar.
Okay,
Babu sir, anything?
No, nothing. Yeah, because I wanted to listen to you because I never wanted to make any contradictory statements. Let it come from horse's own mouth. Right. Okay.
Thank you once more, Madhumurli and Dayanabhav sir and Madam Pratibha madam and our friends Kailas Nathan and my sir, the Sukumaran sir and Sulfikar, all the way from the Trivandrum and participating in this conference. And next, our topic will be presented by the student from Government Medical College, Trichur, the next Saturday, 8 p.m. Topic not mentioned. So we will have the topic 8 p.m. next Saturday by the Trichur Medical College. And inviting all of my students and teachers for the program. Once more, thank you, Dayanabhav sir and Ayan sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you,
Good
sir.
night. Good night.
Thank you. Thank you.